Hey, what's up everyone? I'm Colby from Sanitarium Productions. We're back again with another G.I. Joe action figure review. In this episode, we're taking a look at the G.I. Joe 50th Anniversary 3-pack G.I. Joe Special Forces, featuring Outback, Falcon, and a new character, Shooter. Comes in a traditional 3-pack box set here. The traditional box art for the 50th Anniversary line. It's really nice packaging. It's got the nice two-tone black thing going on here. So you've got some, looks like Sky Strikers and a Skyhawk down here at the bottom. Got a Snake Eyes thing going on here. Some Hiss tanks and another Skyhawk up here. Just very nice, kind of subtle packaging. Looks really nice. I do kind of miss the individual card art kind of style stuff, but still, this is really nice for a 3-pack. We flip it over to the back, we see the two different variations we have for these sets. We've got the Joe team over here and the Cobra team over here, and a little synopsis of what's going on in the Joe verse. So nothing too extraordinary, but it's still nice. Let's go ahead and get this thing open though. This one we've got just a piece of tape over here on the side, so we're just going to slice that tape open and yank this thing out. Nothing left in the box, so it goes back to the recycling bin. As y'all saw, we have a couple things falling out. The file cards and the figure stands, so don't forget about those. We have the tray insert included on top of some more cardboard packaging. Yeah, get rid of the cardboard here. Let's see here. Let's go ahead and open up these here file cards. Get them out of the way. As with most of these 50th anniversary releases, we have 2 cards per character, and each card has 4 different languages on it, so pretty easy to figure out which one you want to use, so still nice. Figure stands also come in a nice little bag over here with some tape on it. Get these out. Outback, Falcon, and Shooter. Let's just start here on the right and work our way around. There's a little bit of tape holding some of this stuff in, so just watch out for that. The little tripod thing we got going on over here, the bipod. Then it looks like the smaller weapons are taped in as well. The knife's over here. These crazy knife blade things for Outback. And I think that's it. So I dropped a pistol out of this one. It was in the holster, so I'm just going to put it back and we'll find it later when we get down to the actual review itself. This big old sniper rifle thing. Looks like it comes in several different pieces here, so be mindful of that as you're taking the packaging out. And this cool case that everything should fit in. How do I get that open real quick? Very nice looking. We'll come back to it in a larger review. And we've got backpack for Falcon here. Be mindful of the radio pack thing. The antenna is sometimes aggravating, but there you go. Nice shotgun. And a pistol for Falcon. Another nice figure there. And everything else I think is for Outback here. So start here with the large assault rifle. Grab Outback and see if we can get him out. His big backpack. I'm making a mess here. Larger assault rifle. Whatever these things are, we'll figure them out in a minute. We've got this crazy knife blade system thing for him. And a whole bunch of knife accessories. These things are kind of small, so probably going to be easily lost, so just try to keep up with them as best you can. It's always cool when a toy company is willing to do this crazy stuff like this, but sometimes it's hard to deal with because you can't keep up with it all so easily. But anyways, there is everything off of the packaging. I'll throw that away now. So here is everything you get. A lot of stuff in here. We'll go ahead and zoom in now and start taking a closer look at these individuals. Up first, we'll take a look at the new character, Jody Shooter Craig. Quick look at the file card that comes with it here. Pulling the trigger is the next to last thing Jody Shooter Craig does as an expert marksman. First, she might take days to move into a shooting position, progressing by inches. Then she remains motionless in the hide, waiting for the target to appear. Once the target is acquired, she uses hard-won skills and esoteric knowledge to judge wind, deflection, and bullet drop before exercising precise breathing control prior to trigger break. The last thing she does is the hardest, getting away. Always nice to have a new character added to the ranks of the Joe team. And we get a female character at that, so it's an extra added bonus. We don't see too many of those either. This one comes with a cool sniper rifle that is kind of all to pieces. So let's take a look. First up, traditional figure stand. Nothing special about this, but we have it anyway, so there we go. The cool sniper rifle case. Let's look at it first. It's a pretty basic design here. Snap hinges to get it apart. Luckily they secure in there very well. And there are compartments in here for pretty much everything that she has with the weapon here. So let's see how well this does. I don't know, it's going to take a minute to figure out where all this stuff goes, I guess. Nothing really lines up. There, we got that. Now, before we do that, let's actually look at the weapon. It might make a little bit more sense so I don't have to explain things twice. So, the weapon does come in different pieces here. And so we'll just go ahead and pull this thing apart. So you've got the big silencer piece on the end of it, the clip that comes with it, the actual assault weapon itself, the scope, the bipod, and the stock, or the butt of it. So lots of cool stuff in here. Some really nice detail work they've done on this thing. We'll assemble it back together real quick. So you start with your base here. Grab your fire suppressor. Just slides over the top like so. The stock here fits into the back. There's a little peg hole that just slides right in. Then you've got the clip here. It just slides in as well, like so. The scope fits on top right here. There's a little notch in this thing to kind of keep it lined up. And so that doesn't actually attach real well, but you should just have to just press it in place and snap it on. But yeah, that's one thing that doesn't work real well. Then the actual bipod itself just snaps up here at the front. Give me a second. My hands are big and these things are small. Bipod attaches up there at the front, and as you see, these things tend to fall apart. They're a little too loose in my opinion. The worst bit is probably the scope here, but as you can see, it all kind of assembles rather easily and looks pretty good. Some nice detail work on it. But when you're not using it as an actual weapon, everything just kind of snaps apart. And then we'll put it back in the case this time. So the one thing I will mention that's I didn't really notice until just now here before I get into that, the actual gun itself, I don't know how well this will show up, but there is some real subtle blue paint apps applied to this thing. I really don't know if you can tell that or not from this video, but in person you can definitely see that, especially when you add it here into the actual case itself. The blue definitely pops at that point, but until then you might not notice that, but it's a very nice little touch they've added there. We add the suppressor there. Let me flip it around to see if it fits better the other way. And it's still a little loose there. That's fine. The scope would then fit here. The butt fits down here like so. The clip, if I can grab it, fits down on this end. And then the actual bipod itself, I don't think there's a place for it. Nope, I see it. It's over here in the corner. It's one of those weird catty corner looking things. So there we go. We can fit everything in there, and it all works really well actually. They do have some nice detail work on the top here. It looks like that foam stuff. And you close it back up and you're good to go. So that's a pretty awesome little sniper rifle case there. The figure itself, well, we just knocked the pistol out, so let's start there. She has an extra pistol holstered on her right side. And I will mention that there is also a silencer on the holster. If I can get it out here. There we go. So we've got a pistol here with a silencer that attaches to it. Very nice looking. And when you're done with that, just fit it back into the holster. I will say that it does fit in there very loosely. As you keep probably seeing, this thing has a tendency to fall out rather easily. But it's nice that they included it and they have the place for the silencer to go as well. The other accessory she comes with is actually a knife. sheath on her web harness here. And it actually stays in place very well, so you don't have to worry about it sliding out at least. So there we go, there's the accessories. The figure itself, pretty nice sculpt. It's fairly bland and doesn't have a whole lot of detail work going on whatsoever. But it still looks really nice. There's nothing really wrong with it whatsoever. Nice head sculpt. Articulation wise, the head does spin 360 degrees and has up and down motion, so very cool. Some nice detail work on her ponytail in the back there. I don't know how well that picks up here, but pretty nice detail work there. Traditional ball and swivel at the shoulder joint. So this one's a little stiff from coming out of the packaging. There we go. The other thing I will mention here, if I can get to zoom in close enough to catch that, she does have the little Special Forces patch on her sidearm right there. I can't really read what it says there, but nice anyways. And then on the other shoulder, the G.I. Joe star. So, ball and swivel shoulder joint, ball and swivel at the elbow joint, and then just a swivel at the wrist. Standard chest articulation, left and right, and ab crunch feature. Pretty good range of motion there. Traditional T-hook at the waist. Double knee joint. This one's a little bit loose, but still double knee joint. And the rocker and the weird side swivelly thing at the ankle. So plenty of articulation on this figure. It's again a little bit bland, not a lot of detail work on this one, but it still does the job really nicely, works really well. Put the silencer back in the holster, and then the pistol itself back in the holster as well. So then grab that big case and she's ready to go. So yeah, an actual pretty cool figure there. A few minor issues with the actual weapon itself and the holster being too loose for the pistol here. Beyond that though, pretty nice addition here. So yeah, there is the new character shooter. Next up, we've got Vincent Falcon Falcone. Looking at the file card real quick. A Green Beret like his father, Vincent Falcon Falcone spent his boyhood emulating his dad and becoming tough enough to compete the grueling Q course. Scaling mountains, parachuting from planes, rappelling down sheer cliffs, and crawling through dense jungle. It's all a walk in the park for Falcon. Leading a covert team at night in poor visibility conditions and under strict noise discipline seems impossible, but Falcon does it by establishing a solid rapport with his team and earning their respect. He's from Fayetteville, North Carolina, which is not really relevant to anybody, but anyways, this is basically the same issued figure as we had from the Slaughter's Marauders set. With a new color update. This is in the kind of special ops navy blue, I guess I would call this color, / black. It comes with a standard figure stand as well, the traditional 50th anniversary version. Sidearm, he has a small pistol. And his traditional shotgun. Getting some nice detail work, but nothing special about that. Taking a look at his backpack. This has always been a cool backpack. Some nice detail work going on here. You've got some canteens in the front. His cool knife on the side here in the sheath. The removable antenna for the radio. And the cooler thing about this is the backpack actually pops open. There's a little latch right there. And the radio itself is removable. You can pull it out. It's a really huge radio. They don't really use those kind of radios anymore, but it's still cool. And then you just latch that back in place. Sticking that tab back in there, if I can get it to go. And voila. Attaches to his back pretty easily there, so no problems right there. You got a cool rope on the side too. So those are his accessories. The figure itself, again, pretty much straight up just repackage of the Slaughter's Marauders version of Falcon. He does have his green beret that's removable, which is a cool little touch there. His head does unfortunately look a little bit too big for his body. Again, it's unfortunate, but it's not that big of a detraction. So, just be mindful of it anyways. Cool little red bandana he's got. It's a little bit too snug around his neck, so it does look a little uncomfortable, but it's fine, I guess. A lot of detail work going on the actual suit itself, so he's got some pretty cool paint apps going on, some dry brushing effects on some of the armor plating on his shoulders, and the knee pads and stuff like that. Got a nice two-tone navy blue pants, and then the black of his shirt, which is kind of a cool effect. Other than that, not a whole lot going on here. Looks really nice though. Pop this off for a second here. So the head does spin 360 degrees and has a little bit of up and down motion. So no problems there. Traditional ball and swivel at the shoulder joint. Ball and swivel at the elbow joint. And looks like just a swivel joint at the wrist as well. The chest articulation is there. Left and right, up and down. Really good ab crunch feature. And I think he actually has the added waist twist here, is what it looks like. He does. So you've got an extra waist joint here on him. The traditional stiff ball and hook at the waist joint. The hips, double knee joint, and the ball and swivel at the rocker and whatever ankle joint. So plenty of articulation for this guy, no problems whatsoever. Again, this guy's a little bit stiff on this one, but I'd rather have him be a little stiff than a little loose. So yeah, all in all, it's a decent Falcon figure. Again, it's the black and navy blue is a little too bland, but for special ops missions, think Night Force kind of thing, and it does work for it, so no big deal there. Again, the backpack pegs on easily enough. You can grab his shotgun. And then he can carry his pistol in his other hand. So I do wish he had a holster for his pistol, but no such luck on this one, so that's what we got. Still waiting for the an ultimate Falcon figure. This one, unfortunately, is still not quite there, but it's still a nice figure. There's nothing really wrong with it, just not quite the final version of Falcon. Last but certainly not least, Outback. Stuart Outback Selkirk was an instructor at both the survival school and the jungle warfare training center. Most people are intimidated by wilderness. They don't feel comfortable where there's no sign of human life for miles. Not Outback. He believes in being part of his environment, not its adversary. As a survival expert, he trains the team to spot hidden dangers when setting up a shelter and to be able to fight in remote, inhospitable environments. So I have always liked Outback as a character. He's a survivalist, very cool. We've had a couple of iterations of this character so far in the line, and this is a nice addition to that. They finally have him sized about right. If you'll notice, he is a slightly bigger. He's on about the same scale as the 50th anniversary Leatherneck figure. So it's nice. And as you can see, this guy comes with a lot of gear. And it gets a bit weird here, but we will go through this. It may take us a couple minutes, but I'll try to explain everything that's going on here. We'll get the figure stand out of the way first. Traditional 50th anniversary. Nothing special. So, there we have it. He actually has his cool machete in his hand that's held on by one of these crazy rubber band things. So I'm going to pop that off first, just to get that out of the way. And let's start with the easy things to explain. So we have the machete, which is the easiest one to look at. We just pulled it out. This one is a slightly unique. I don't know how well this actually shows up, but the actual machete itself is a little bit weird. The actual color of the blade itself is semi-transparent, or that's the best way to explain it. I think what they've done here is actually just painted the handle on this guy instead of the rest of it. So it looks kind of weird. It's got a strange effect going on, but it's definitely does a really good job of making it look like it's a metallic one. But it's an oddball anyways, but very cool anyways. His backpack here. We've seen this pack in the past on a couple of characters. It's really cool though. You've got this cool latch system, so you can pop these tabs out, and the actual pack itself unfurls. And you got all this space inside to do stuff. So we'll be storing some of his gear in here in a little while. And it just kind of folds back up and snaps in place. So a very cool pack anyways. And we'll come back to how it fits on him in a minute, because there's more to explain there. The assault weapons are pretty straightforward. You've got this cool, fairly large assault weapon with a cool bipod on the front that is removable. You just kind of slide it out of place. There's a little, tab section here, and you just slide it in place like so, and you're good to go there. And then his traditional weapon here is this crazy looking assault weapon with a cool sling on it. Very nice. Then we have a traditional knife here. He's got a nice sheath on his side here next to his boot. Slides in place and locks in pretty well. A little tight, but it does work definitely. And while we're on the subject, he also has a pistol on his side here. Oops. Fits into the holster here. This is not one of the crazy ones with a silencer on it. Just a standard pistol. Fits onto his holster. Then we're going to pop this little thing off the back here. We'll come back to that in a moment. The rest of his stuff here is this crazy weapons system thing that takes a little bit of explaining here. We've got a whole bunch of interchangeable pieces, and you've got these two handles, so you officially have two different ones that you can do. We're, for the sake of argument, just going to split this in half and set everything up like this and this. And we'll focus in on one single one and explain it to you all as best we can here. And I'm going to try to zoom in a little bit closer to try to make this a little bit better. So we're going to bounce around just a little bit for a second. Alright, that looks pretty good here. We can stop juggling here. So we do have these really cool knife blades and this like dagger thing here. Some really nice detail work going on. We've got this crazy bar thing here. And we got this thing here, and we got these handle things. So let's look at the handle first if we can. Some nice detail work going on. On the top of these things you see this little peg hole. Essentially all of these little accessories just peg into that little peg hole. So just line it up and just kind of stick it in there, and that's how they snap into place. Then you can use this as a knife. You can use it as a dagger. You can use it as this weird bar thing that I don't really know what's going on, but club thing. And then the other part is this thing here. Essentially turns it into a pistol. So you flip this thing around so that the peg on that lines up with the peg hole there, and snap it in place, and there you go, you've got a nice cool pistol. So 4 different types of weapons that you can use with this guy, and all very cool, but slightly weird and cumbersome kind of thing, but there you have it. That's how that weapon system works. So don't say we never did nothing for you. That's to the best of my ability, the best way of explaining what's going on there. Alright, back out, and let's take a look at the figure itself. Again, really cool sculpting work going on here. The actual flak vest that he's got has tons of detail in it. Same thing, it's I think they did actually use the leather neck body on this guy, so same kind of pants system and sculpting detail work that's got going on is in this guy, so shouldn't be that surprising. Same head sculpt we've had from all the rest of the Outback figures. It kind of looks like Chuck Norris, yes, but it's not Chuck, don't worry. So yeah, let's just go into it here. Well, let's take a look at the back real quick. It's got some really cool detail work on this thing as well. And some nice detail work, some silver things going on and whatnot and stuff and such. So, articulation-wise, the head does spin 360 degrees. Up and down motion as well. If anything, the head looks a little small for the body as opposed to a lot of the rest of these issues where we've had the head too big for the body. This one's just slightly too small, but it still works. You don't have to worry too much about it. Standard ball and swivel at the shoulder joint. Again, you can see a little bit better here that cool Special Forces logo. Looks like a wolf breathing fire or something like that. And I think it says LA 88 or 85. I really can't make that out too well. If anybody knows more specifically what that, or has any information on that whatsoever, feel free to drop a comment down below. We'd all appreciate it. But standard ball and swivel at the elbow joint. And he does have the swivel and the rocker on the wrist joint. So, yeah, we get some extra articulation with him. So, very nice. Very cool. Standard waist twist feature. Ab rocker, which is not encumbered by his flak jacket whatsoever. He does not have the extra waist articulation there, but you don't need it because the chest articulation kind of fixes that anyways. Standard T-hooks at the waist and hip joints, double knee joint, and that crazy rocker swivelly thing at the ankles with the really weird twisty stuff going on. So yeah, this guy gets pretty much all the articulation points, so very cool. It's a really good version of this character. No problems with it whatsoever. The arms are a little weird looking in a good way, but the hands slightly weirder, but that just may be the way that it ends up being, so no big deal there. Yeah, all in all, really cool looking figure here. With that being said, so let's go ahead and arm this guy. On his back, as we were pointing out earlier, this crazy bar thing just slides into place like such, and just snaps in place. The bad thing about it is that when you have that bar in there, you're going to have a hard time getting in here to actually attach the backpack, because it pretty much is in the same place, and even without that bar you may have to kind of push at it to get the backpack to snap in place and to line up both holes to get that to work there. So the other good thing is that you can just stuff this thing into the backpack when you're not worrying about it, and you're good to go there. So there you go. And I think I just lost it in there. There we go. Anyways, that's how that works. Then we can kind of stuff all the rest of this stuff in the backpack as well. On his flak vest thing here, he does have a couple of spots here for, like, one of these knives can fit in here, and then these two of these little dagger things actually fit in like that, which is a little weird that he can carry them around like that, but it's kind of cool. But again, just a little weird. But the other one doesn't have a place for it, so don't know what you're going to do there. So everything else I would just stuff into this this cool sack here and be done with it. It's a cool action feature having this weird gun mechanism thing, but at the end of the day I don't really know how useful it would be. It's not so bad doing the guns, but anything past the guns gets a little weird. I'm just going to go ahead and snap these in place as the pistols and stick them in here because they fit a little easier that way. You can stick that little bar in there as well. You may have to move things around a little bit and get it to squint a little bit, then toss in the knife blade and then kind of close it back up. And it's pretty well good to go. Then you can shove that, if you can get things to line up correctly, just kind of shove his backpack on him. It's a little tight. You may have to end up loosening the side mount piece here and kind of stab at it blindly in the dark while you're trying to do it to figure out where that hole is. Definitely don't make it easy. And that's close enough, I guess. Everything's falling apart now, so yeah, so those things don't really fit real easily on there. Then you can get his weapon and throw it across his shoulder. His machete doesn't fit in that one hand too easily. It's a little too loose at that point, but stick it in his other hand and he's not got a problem. And he can grab the big machine gun in the one hand, and basically he can carry all of his gear at that point. So it's one hand is a little weird and a little bit big. Again, it's not ideal. Not the best situation to be in whatsoever here. And it's a shame because it is a really awesome figure. And I wish all this stuff worked much better than it does, but there. Got his backpack on at least. And the little knife blades fell out, as I said, so we just kind of try to shove them back in there. Just so we have a place to hold them. Throw that around the side. Grab the other machine gun. And you're good to go. So there we are. There is Outback. A lot of stuff going on with this guy, but a really awesome figure all the way around. The accessories leave a little something to be desired, but still probably the best figure in this particular set. So there you go. So here are the 3 characters from the set. All in all, it's a decent set. I'm not really quite as impressed with it as I was hoping I would be. Outback is probably the best figure out of the set. And I do like the new character Shooter. But there's a lot to deal with in this set, so yeah, I don't know. I would recommend picking it up, but it's not really highly recommended. So yeah, do with that what you will. It's still a cool set, but yeah, just a lot of overhead, I guess, at some point. But that's all the time we have for today. Thanks for stopping by. Subscribe to our channel if you haven't already. Feel free to drop some comments down below. Let us know what you think about this 3-pack. And if you have any specific feelings about any of the 3 characters inside the pack, drop those comments as well. Let us know what you think overall, and if you'd like to see anything special done in future episodes, we'd love to hear that from you as well. So, till next time, Yo Joe.